My name is Alexandra Karatza, and I'm a PhD candidate here in the Aristotle University. And today I'll present you part of my research that focuses on the population dynamics and age estimation of the common cuttlefish Sepia officinalis that was caught with a trammel net in a major fishing ground in Gulf of Thermaikos. Small-scale fisheries play a very important social and economic role because in the Mediterranean, they consist of the majority of the fishing vessels. Especially in the Gulf of Thermaikos, there is intensive activity, and also there's a variety in the fishing gear and the target species. For our research, our target species is the common cuttlefish Sepia officinalis, and we perform population dynamics in maturity and age estimation. Our sampling area is the area near the Nea Michaniona, that's in the Gulf of Thermaikos. And from the January to the September of the year 2022, and we only went to in depths around 4.5 to 5 meters. Our fishing gear were trammel nets with mesh size of 32 millimeters and 36 millimeters, and total length of 300 meters. As you can see from the videos, you can see the cuttlefish caught in the trammel net trying to escape, and also other species like jellyfish were caught. Our sampling protocol was like this. The nets had to be soaked from 12 hours to 24 hours. We had an early departure from the port, and on board we take note of the coordinates, the temperature, and the transparency of the water. On board, as we pull out the nets, the catch was separated on board, and also when we arrived on port, there were the preliminary measurements in certain species was performed. For other species, just like a cuttlefish, we moved to the laboratory where we measure in more detail, and also we perform anatomy to determine the mature stage and also the sex of each individual. We perform a sex ratio for throughout all the months of sampling, and also a condition factor for the duration of our sampling. And lastly, we present the relationship between the total weight and the mantle length throughout for all the individuals. For the mature stage, we decided to follow these 5 stages from 0 to 4. With 0, it's undetermined, and 4 is spawning for both male and female individuals. For the females, we had a mature stage of 2, 3, and 4. And for the males, we also have 2, 3, and 4. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to find any immature individuals because maybe they didn't caught in the nets. We performed the seasonal change in the GSI. We also had the fecundity rate for most of the months for the female individuals. And also we had the seasonal, we analyzed the seasonal egg size. Now to the interesting part. For the age estimation, we focused on the beaks of the sepia. So we extract the beaks before we measure the beaks, the weight, also the crest length, the hood length, and the rostrum length. And we perform microscopic exploration under epi-illumination. 2 were the exploration that we did. First was the lateral wall surface, and then the rostrum sagittal section. For that part, we had to cut the beaks, both the upper and the lower beaks, almost in half. And for the latter, as you can see here, for the latter, we focused on this side. For the rostrum, we had to cut really close to this side so we can see the rings. So, for the rostrum, the protocol was a bit more complicated. We had to put our specimens in raising. as you can see in the pictures. Then we had to grind the specimens, and then we had to polish the specimen, so every scratch, as much as possible, the scratch will be invisible under the microscope. So this is the picture that shows the lateral wall for upper and lower beak. As you can see, it's pretty dark. This is the rostrum for the upper beaks. Here you can see a bit of rings, but again, they're especially dark. So we focused on the lower beak, like that. We started from the tip, and we moved to the middle, and then at the end, where in every part, we counted these lines, which are the rings. So, counting the line is each day. So, having the total of the line, we have the days that each individual had lived. So by having that information and by having the date of catch, we estimate the hatching date for each individual, and then we group them in the hatching for each individual in a special hatching season, as you can see in the graph. Then we try to find a relationship between age and beak measurements that consist the crest length, the hood length, the rostrum length, and the beak weight. And then a relationship between age and the body measurements, like dorsal mantle length and total weight. Then we did another exploration. We measured the distance between lines using an image analysis system by Nikon. We marked the start and the end of each session, and we measure for each ring the distance between them. Here we have the mean width of each distance, and we see the relationship with the daily increments. So our conclusion is that in the first months, big male were the first individuals that arrived in these shallow waters. There is a seasonal decrease of the condition factor. As the time goes, we saw a decrease in size. That we can also see, we have a hypothesis that you also have alternation between age groups from older to younger. And in the breeding areas that were near the shore, the large male arrive first as the breeding season begins. And over the months, both sexes that caught are small. And for the age estimation, the rostrum sadical section for the lower beaks is the most reliable, as it showed in previous studies on Sepia officinalis and Sepia perthelotis. In the hatching season, we saw a pattern that there is a highest pattern in the autumn of 2021. There is a high individual variation both in age and beak measurements and age and body measurements. And the increments measure show a decreasing trend in their width as we go to later days. Of course, I have ongoing work because there has to be a second count to verify that the readings are correct. And also, if there is a difference between the first and the second reading, I have to analyze the coefficient of variation. Thank you very much.